Hey there everybody, welcome back. Let's just get right into it. The Galaxy S10 Plus was released in 2019 and it's much better than you might think for being a little bit on the older side, but it has held up incredibly well over the years. And if you're looking for a backup phone for things such as travel or gaming, or maybe even just looking for a cheap phone for 2025, I think this could be an incredible option. Let's kick it off with the design. I love the way this phone looks and feels in the hand. There's just something beautiful about this entire design. I think the newer phones from Samsung look great, but I sure do miss this era of Samsung devices. This has got to be one of the best looking phones of all time, and especially in this beautiful white color. You get a glass back with nice curved edges of the aluminum frame, and it feels incredibly comfortable to hold without a case, so I don't even use one. But if you don't like slippery and greasy devices, you're going to want to use a case. You're also getting IP68 dust and water resistance, and if you care about it, a headphone jack. Samsung did an overall amazing job with this design. It's truly timeless. Now for the display, there's a lot of positive things, but there is one gigantic negative thing that could definitely be a deal breaker for you, and in many ways it's a deal breaker for me, at least for a primary device. But let's start off with the good. You're getting an absolute gorgeous 6.4-inch dynamic AMOLED display. It has a resolution of 1440 by 3040, which is a 522 pixel per inch density. This display is just beautiful. It's interesting to see that Samsung displays are so good that you can go to an older device and see a display that is arguably better than some modern devices. If you're using this as a secondary phone to watch content on, you will not be disappointed. The other cool thing is that it comes with a peak brightness of 1200 nits. Now this is lower than modern flagship devices, but for a phone from 2019, it's completely acceptable. And on top of that, it does do well in my bright Florida sun. One thing to consider is that this does have a curved edge display, which looks great when you look at this phone like a piece of fashion, but in use, it can get a little frustrating because your content can distort at the edges, and also accidental touches, while not constant, do happen more than I'd like to admit. Now, here's the potential deal breaker. This device has a 60 Hz panel, and you really do feel it. You can tell, especially if you've been using a device with a 120 Hz panel, which many have been using in 2025. I wouldn't say that this is an absolute deal breaker necessarily, especially if you're a user who uses budget phones normally, but if you're coming from any kind of modern flagship and you're trying to save a few dollars picking up a used S10 Plus, you're going to notice it. And you might think that it doesn't look that bad, but as somebody who uses 120 Hz screens on a regular basis, it does look that bad. So for a primary device, it could be a deal breaker for you, but for a secondary device, I consider this to be fine as long as you can pick one up at a good price. Now getting to the camera, this kind of shocked me in a similar way that I was surprised at how good the S8 Plus camera was when I did a review on it. This camera does an incredible job for still shots, and you will see that when I show you the comparison against the S25 Ultra. But for video, I think it leaves a lot to be desired. But if you want to use this as a secondary device to take photos, I think it does a great job considering it's from 2019. Let me know down below, can you really tell a huge difference between this and the latest Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra? recording 4K 60 with both devices. Okay, just gonna move left to right here. Okay, we're gonna look up into this tree. The sun is pretty bright, so let's go ahead and point over that direction, get an idea of how it looks with the sun looking at it. Any kind of glare or anything. Let's look over here. I'm gonna walk again. Down to the floor, or I guess the grass. And now I'm going to just kind of jump up and down so you get an idea of the stabilization. There we go. To me, they look pretty similar. Obviously, the S25 Ultra is going to be the better camera, but the S10 Plus is significantly older, coming out in 2019. So it's something to consider. Is it really worth the gigantic price tag, or can you just pick up a super good condition used S10 Plus, then flash it with like a custom ROM or something? I don't know, something to think about. Now this will be a very quick section, but I definitely wanted to at least point out that this has an ultrasonic under-display fingerprint sensor. It works incredibly fast, and I find it to be very accurate every time I use it. And this also has your normal face unlock that you've had in pretty much all Samsung devices and even have today. And I don't really talk about this too much because it's not secure. I mean, you can use it to go into your phone, which is fine, but it doesn't really work in the dark, and unfortunately, it's not going to be secure enough to use for your banking and credit card applications, for example. So when it comes to that, I don't find it very useful, and I just use the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor instead, which, like I said, works great. Now, I've already mentioned a few downsides of this phone, but the biggest downside possibly of them all has to be the software. And that's not because the software isn't good. Matter of fact, the software is terrific. This is running Android 12 with Samsung's One UI 4.1, which gives you a ton of good features, and the overall software experience is fluid and enjoyable to use. The issue is that it's no longer supported by Samsung, so if you want to continue getting updates and security support, you're going to have to download a custom ROM or maybe something like Lineage OS onto your device. I do plan on making a video about this in the future, so subscribe for when that comes out, because I have heard really good things about these options. I think if this was my daily phone, I wouldn't recommend it unless I was just super careful, as in never connecting to public Wi-Fi ever, and being extra careful about the websites that I visit. But I think if this was my secondary phone, like maybe just a phone to watch videos or play my emulators on, I still think this is a terrific option as long as you find it for the right price. So take a look at what you need for your phone, and if you're willing to take the risk, then go for it. But I definitely would try to at least consider a custom ROM option or Lineage OS, and just be careful. The performance on this phone is another thing that surprised me. Unlike my S8 Plus that struggled to play anything more than a Game Boy Advance game, this phone has no issues playing heavier titles such as PlayStation 2 games with 0 drops in performance. I was also really impressed with the heat management. I didn't get the same overheating issues that I got on my S8 Plus or some of my Pixel devices. If you just want an emulator machine, this is a great choice. On top of that, it has expandable storage for all your games. For the battery life, it's really going to depend on the phone that you actually buy. I say that because I have myself a refurbished model that I found on eBay, and I don't know if the battery is new, but based on the battery life that I get, I can only imagine that it is. I tend to get between 5 and 6 hours of screen on time, but from posts that I've seen online from people who have actually used this phone since launch, I noticed that most people get between 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 hours of screen on time. And just so that you can get an idea of my daily use, I use it to message my friends and my family, watch content such as YouTube, listen to music, playing some light mobile games and emulators, and of course talking on my phone and taking photos and video. I set my brightness to auto brightness, the screen resolution is always at the highest, and I always leave my always on display on. So here's the final verdict. Should you buy this phone in 2025? For the vast majority of you, I would say no. But if you don't mind installing a custom ROM or something like Lineage OS on this device, or even just using this as a side camera or gaming or content viewing phone, then look for one on a reliable used website and get one for a good price. I think that this phone was way ahead of its time when it came out in 2019, and it has a lot of great features and a beautiful screen that make it still a great value in 2025. Thank you all for watching. Hit that like button down below and subscribe for more if you like what I do, and I will see all of you next time.